chatter about their experience versus your inexperience. What does a game like tonight say about that?
It says we don't care.
Very simple. Congratulations, Victor.
When you think of Batman and Robin, you usually think of two people that complement each other. And to be honest, both Wemby and Stephon Castle have been the next Batman and Robin for the San Antonio Spurs. Wemby is a very elite rim protector. He could space out the floor, allowing Stephon Castle to get into that mid-range area and score. But we'll be breaking down even more film because I will show you why this duo is elite. In game 1, the San Antonio Spurs got absolutely demolished by the Minnesota Timberwolves defensively, but now it's a completely different game. And let me show you why. Let's start off with breaking down Wemby film, because here you can see that Champagny is shooting on this right wing. And when he misses the shot, it looks like Rudy Gobert is going to get the rebound. But little do you know, with these long legs, Wemby can sprint and dunk that ball right back in before Gobert could grab the rebound. This is something you don't see often. In game 1, Rudy Gobert was out rebounding Wemby. Wemby wasn't getting into proper positioning sometimes, but this game is a completely different story because Stephon Castle could start off in that right wing, get inside the midi area, but when Castle misses that shot, Wemby's right there to grab that ball and put it back in. This is what I mean by them complementing each other. Castle knows that he could go inside the paint without having to worry about making the shot. But this next play truly shows you how insane Wemby is, because he could be setting an off-ball screen over here. Now it's a 2-on-1. Devin Vassell can go to that right side and fade without having to worry about anything, because he knows that Wemby's there to grab that ball and put it in for the and-one bucket. This is why I call him Batman, because you don't gotta worry about anything when he's around. The Spurs also tried giving Wemby a lot of deep paint position opportunities, like over here when he's isolated against Randall. There's nothing you could do. He's gonna get his way inside that deep paint, and I'm surprised the Timberwolves didn't double team him here. And this deep paint plan was working the entire game. Wemby came to set a screen for Stephon Castle. Once the ball got swung to De'Aaron Fox, it was basically like a distraction, allowing Wemby to get deep inside the paint. And once he was too deep, it was too late. He grabbed the ball and put it in. Pause. So we know that these plays are kind of strategic when you look at it. But there's also times where you could just give Wemby the ball around the hash mark area, and any person out their right mind wouldn't be playing that high up. And I get you, Rudy Gobert. So Wemby just pulls up from that hash mark and knocks it down like it's a free throw. They're just some things that you can't guard. But on the defensive end, Wemby is a whole different monster. He had over 10 blocks in game 1. And when you look at plays like these, where Ayo Dosunmu is driving into the paint with Rudy Gobert on the left as well, it's a 2v1 against Wemby, but Wemby stays in between both of them, so when Ayo decides to go up, Wemby can turn around and block that away using his 1,000-foot wingspan. Sometimes I watch a Timberwolves play and there's basically nothing they can do about this Wemby rim protection, because it also allows the Spurs over here to start double teaming early on, and obviously a double team leaves Jaden McDaniels wide open going into the paint, but it doesn't mean anything because Wemby could just rotate and block that shot away. So the San Antonio Spurs defense gets so lethal because they can double whenever they feel like it, because they got Wemby. To be honest, I was looking at all these plays. The more interesting play was this one, where Wemby was bringing the ball up like a point guard, and the Spurs set a specific play for him. He bounce passes it to Champagny, then De'Aaron Fox sets an off-ball screen. Rudy Gobert goes under it thinking Wemby's going to go in the paint, but instead Wemby stops at the top of the three-point line and knocks down the three-point shot. A guy at that size is doing point guard-like stuff. So now we know about Batman. It's time to talk about Robin now. But before we talk about Robin, shout out to Prize Picks, because it's time for me to show you guys 3 of my favorite picks. And the first one I'm liking is Jared McCain, 4.5 points. They're utilizing him a lot against the Lakers. Shea, 28.5. Come on, that's pretty automatic. And then we have Chet, 16 points. If you guys want to tail me, go ahead and use code HMA, because when you play $5, you get 50 instantly. Now back to the video, because we need to talk about the Robin, and this is Stephon Castle. And the reason why I said they work well together is because Stephon Castle can now just grab the ball in that corner, act like he's gonna go to that right hand side with that jab step, freeing up the baseline for him to finish. You could also see, if you rewind that play, Wemby is just spotted up in that right corner, and that just spreads out the offense so much, allowing Castle to get inside the paint. You could see Castle even initiates the offense, bringing it down. He doesn't care about anything right now and goes up to draw the foul. When you have a player like Wemby alongside you, you could play freely and not have to worry about being doubled. But don't get it twisted, when Wemby isn't on the floor, Castle is a very good first option. You could give him the ball and isolate against almost anyone on the floor, and he can hit you with a crossover and bump you to get wide open in that mid-range area. That may be one of Castle's special abilities. It's that mid-range area and also driving at the rim. And those are the two superpowers you need to be a lethal player in the NBA. But now it's time to break down another Batman and Robin play, because you can see over here, Wemby is on the right side of the floor and they're acting like they're gonna set him an off-ball screen to curl off of for a 3 possibly. But that ends up not being the case, and instead Castle now has so much room inside the paint and has an isolation attempt, so he can just spin off and get inside the paint without Rudy Gobert having to be in there. All because of that play at the start where Wemby got an off-ball screen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why they work so well together. You could set a screen for Batman and it helps out Robin. There's also cases where Stephon Castle is so good on the offensive side here that when he runs it down into the mid-range area for a split second, defenses genuinely fall asleep, so you could kick it out to players in that right wing for open 3-point shots. That is why Castle is such a good playmaker. He has awesome gravity, just like Victor Wembanyama, so players are gonna have to play him high. Stephon Castle is also a very elite transition player, and on this play you could see before he gets the ball, he's begging for it. He's like, give me the ball, because when he gets it, he knows that there's nobody in the paint, the defense isn't set, so he could just sprint inside of that paint, and even if he doesn't make this here, he could draw a foul and go and get himself 2 points at the line. This is a very mature play by a young guy. And to be honest, when we look at his dribbling, he doesn't dribble the tightest. He's not like a Kyrie Irving. But to be honest, he does very simple moves that get him open. Over here, you can see McDaniels is playing him past the half court line. And to counter this, he just does one spin, wraps his left arm around, and that gives him more than enough room to get inside of that paint, draw the foul, and hit an and one bucket. His concentration is next level. And when I watched even more film, you could see here, he's isolated. He really loves this spin move that he does against defenders. And in this case, it gets him a wide open fading midi. But when you looked at the other plays I showed you, this spin got him free for a lot of driving attempts that drew fouls as well. So you can see what I mean. The Batman and Robin duo is very good, and I think in the next 5-6 years these two could make some damage. And screw the next 5-6 years, they could win a championship this year if they really locked in. If you want more film breakdowns like these, make sure you hit that like, because it gets the video out to so many more people, and hit that subscribe. I'll catch you legends in the next one. Peace.